Let Garmin Marine Support show you how to install the force current on your kayak. Due to the driving force generated by this product, not all kayaks are supported. Attempting to install or use the force current trolling motor on a kayak that cannot support the motor may damage the kayak. If in doubt, you should contact the kayak manufacturer for guidance before attempting to install the trolling motor. Garmin recommends contacting the kayak manufacturer for guidance and working with a qualified marine installer to ensure a safe and secure installation. Your kayak must have a flat stern to install the trolling motor mount. If your kayak does not have a flat stern, you must fabricate an adapter plate to conform to the shape of your kayak. The screws used in this video have been customized to fit this kayak. Additional hardware or mounting may be needed to install the force current trolling motor. For this install, the current trolling motor will use 1/4 stainless steel screws to install the current mount. A different length than provided may be needed to install on your kayak. Kayaks that come with compatible mounting holes on the back can be used to mount the current trolling motor. A suitable adapter plate may be available from third-party manufacturers if your kayak does not have compatible threaded mounting holes on the stern. You must drill mounting holes to install the mount if your kayak does not have compatible threaded mounting holes and no suitable adapter plate is available. For pre-installed mounting holes, you will need a drill, a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, and knife or scissors. When installing a third-party mount using bolts and nuts, a 5/16 drill bit, 11mm open-end wrench, or an optional sheet material for reinforcing the mounting surface will be needed. A 7/16 drill bit and 1/2-inch combination wrench will be used when installing rivet nuts. In addition to the mounting hardware and tools, you will need a circuit breaker rated for 40 continuous amps, 3mm hex driver, and a torque wrench with a 9/16 socket. For a kayak with a compatible mounting pattern, measure the distance from the edge of the stern to the nearest mounting hole. Place the mount over the mounting holes directly on the kayak if the edge of the stern is less than 1 1/8 inch from the nearest mounting hole. Add a 3/4 inch spacer between the mount and your kayak to ensure adequate clearance for the shape of the mount. If the edge of the stern is between 1 1/8 inch and 3 15/16 inch from the nearest mounting hole. You cannot use the integrated mounting holes to install the mount if the edge of the stern is more than 3 15/16 inch from the nearest mounting hole. An adapter plate may be available for your kayak to provide new mounting holes closer to the edge of the stern. You can drill new mounting holes in your kayak if no adapter plate is available. Secure the mount to your kayak using the mounting screws and washers in bag labeled A if you are using a compatible mounting pattern. The next steps will be for kayaks not compatible with integrated mounting holes. The screws provided in Bag B may be too long or too short to use for your installation. You must acquire the appropriate length 1/4 stainless steel screws. Failure to do so could lead to improper installation and damage to the trolling motor or kayak. You must have access to the space under the mounting surface to install the mount using the included bolts, nuts, and washers. Use the mount as a mounting template on the back of the kayak. Place the mount on the center of the stern. Mark the 4 mounting holes on your kayak. Drill the 4 mounting holes using a 5/16 drill bit. Secure the mount to the kayak with the bolts, nuts, and washers from Bag B and the washers from Bag A. The screws provided in Bags A and B may be too long or too short for your installation. You must acquire the appropriate 1/4 screws to mount your current trolling motor. Use the handle on the back of the steering system housing to move the trolling motor. Be mindful of the propeller drive motor and the propeller to prevent the possibility of personal injury or property damage. Lower the motor onto the mount at a 45-degree angle, matching the pivot knobs on the motor with the pivot brackets on the mount. Then allow the motor to pivot down to a vertical position. Tighten the knobs on both sides of the motor until they stop. Now we will install the locking pin. The force current trolling motor supports 3 different positions intended to offset the angle of the stern relative to the water. Insert the locking pin through the clevis on both sides of the motor. Then install the cotter ring on the end of the locking pin, securing the motor in the deployed position. When the motor is deployed, the mounting latch catches the locking pin, securing the motor in the deployed position. Examine the angle of the shaft relative to the kayak. Move the locking pin to one of the other 2 positions if necessary. Now we will install the pull rope. Feed one end of the rope through the metallic release latch in the mount. Tie the end of the rope under the mount into a stopper knot to prevent the rope from pulling out through the release latch. Make sure to test the knot strength. Failure to do so could lead to improper installation of the pull cable. Feed the rope up through the eyelet on the front of the motor. Then guide the rope down and feed it through the swivel pulley on the mount. Next, select a location for the rope cleat just in front of the seat and off to one side. Select mounting points for the pad eyes, which guide the rope from the mount to the cleat. Garmin recommends using them to install the pad eyes and the rope cleat if your kayak is equipped with a track system or threaded inserts. The pad eyes and the cleat are packaged with a set of T-nuts for mounting onto a standard T-track. Slide the 2 T-nuts onto the track until they align with the mounting holes on the cleat. Install the cleat on the track using the screws and T-nuts. The screws provided may be too long or too short to use on your T-track system. You must acquire the appropriate length 1/4-20 stainless steel screws. Failure to do so could damage the cleat or pad eye on the kayak. Install the pad eyes on the track using the screws and T-nuts. If a T-track or threaded insert is not available, follow the next steps to install the pad eyes or the cleat using the included rivet nuts and screws. Drill mounting holes using a 7/16 drill bit. Retrieve the coupling nut, screw, and washer from bag G. Thread the screw through the coupling nut, washer, and the rivet nut using a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver. Insert the rivet nut and screw a hole in the mounting surface. Position a 1/2-inch wrench on the coupling nut. While maintaining pressure on the head of the screw using a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, turn the coupling nut clockwise using the wrench. Continue to turn the coupling nut until it stops. The screw is pulled up, causing the rivet nut to collapse under the mounting surface. Remove the screw from the rivet nut using a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. Place the cleat or pad eye on the kayak. Secure the cleat or pad eye to your kayak using the included mounting screws with a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver. You must secure the cleat to your kayak using 2 screws. Now route the rope through the pad eyes and the cleat. Then feed the end of the rope through the pull handle. Trim the rope, allowing enough slack to make sure you can comfortably reach it from the seated position in your kayak. Garmin recommends trimming the rope to about 8 inches from the cleat so the pull handle will stay close to the cleat when the motor is in the deployed position. Tie a stopper knot to bind the rope inside the pull handle. Make sure to test the knot strength to ensure the rope is not pulled out of the handle. Trim and melt the end of the rope to prevent fraying. Snap the 2 pieces of the pull handle together. Next, you must install the skeg to protect the propeller from damage. Starting from the front, place the skeg over the fin on the bottom of the propeller drive motor. Secure the screw and washer to the skeg using a 3mm hex bit driver. The force current trolling motor is packaged with a weedless propeller and a high-efficiency propeller. The weedless propeller is designed to help prevent weeds from wrapping around the propeller and the shaft. The high-efficiency propeller runs quieter and provides more thrust. You should use this prop in open water conditions. Insert the pin through the propeller mount shaft. Rotate the motor shaft to orient the pin horizontally so it is less likely to fall out during installation. Align the channel on the inside of the propeller with the pin and slide the propeller onto the motor shaft. Place the anode, washer, lock washer, and nut onto the end of the motor shaft. Tighten the lock nut to 12 foot-pounds using a 9/16 socket. Now we will connect the trolling motor to power. You must connect the force current trolling motor to a 12-volt or 24-volt battery. The current trolling motor will not run on a 36-volt battery. A 36-volt battery may cause damage to the product or result in poor performance. Connect the trolling motor power cable to a circuit breaker rated for 40 continuous amps. You must connect the positive wire on the power cable through a circuit breaker or fuse rated for 40 amps continuous. Connecting this wire to power without a circuit breaker or fuse could result in a short on the wire, which may lead to overheating or fire. Once connected to the circuit breaker and battery, turn the weather cap on the trolling motor power connector a quarter turn counterclockwise. Insert the power cable connector with the cable parallel to the kayak and push until it is fully inserted. Turn the lock ring on the power cable connector a quarter turn clockwise to lock it in place. Your force current trolling motor has now been installed and is ready to hit the water. And that's it. Thanks for watching. For more help, please subscribe to the Garmin Support YouTube channel and visit marinesupport.garmin.com.